From the scrappy garages of the 1980s to the entrepreneurial kitchens of today, the spirit of self-sufficiency has fueled generations of creators and doers. Generation X, born between 1965 and 1980, embraced a DIY ethic that reshaped industries, inspired innovation, and sparked what we now call the side hustle. Today, we're diving deep into how Gen X rewrote the rulebook on independence and why their legacy resonates stronger than ever in our gig-driven economy. Part 1. The Roots of DIY. To understand the DIY ethic, we need to look at its cultural roots. In the late 70s and early 80s, punk rock exploded as a rejection of mainstream commercialism. Bands like the Ramones and Dead Kennedys didn't wait for record labels. They recorded, distributed, and promoted their music independently. Zines, hand-drawn posters, and garage sales became platforms for self-expression and community. For Generation X, the DIY ethic wasn't just about creativity, it was survival. Growing up amidst recessions, layoffs, and changing family structures, many learned to fix things, build from scratch, and hustle for what they wanted. These skills formed a cultural foundation for independence and adaptability. Part 2. DIY in the digital age. As Gen X matured, so did the tools of independence. The rise of the internet in the 1990s supercharged their DIY ethos. Early tech pioneers, many of them Gen Xers, built companies in garages, bringing us the likes of Amazon, Google, and eBay. At the same time, blogging platforms and forums empowered everyday people to share knowledge and sell their crafts online. Whether it was designing websites, selling handmade goods, or monetizing niche skills, Gen X was at the forefront of blending creativity with technology. They laid the groundwork for today's gig economy, proving that with the right tools, anyone could carve out their own path. Part 3. The influence on the side hustle. Fast forward to today, and the DIY ethic has evolved into the side hustle, a term that reflects the same spirit of ingenuity and independence. Gen X inspired millennials and Gen Z to take control of their economic futures, not by waiting for opportunities, but by creating them. Whether it's opening Etsy shops, driving for ride shares, or launching YouTube channels, the DIY culture is thriving. And it's not just about making money, it's about freedom, self-expression, and building something meaningful. It's about reclaiming agency in a world that often feels out of control. Part 4. How Gen X embraced the hustle. For many Gen Xers, the side hustle wasn't just a trend. It was a necessity. Juggling student loans, rising housing costs, and stagnant wages, they turned to creative ways of making ends meet. From selling mixtapes at local record stores to running photography gigs on weekends, they found ways to merge passion with profit. Unlike traditional career paths, these hustles weren't dictated by corporate hierarchies but driven by personal grit and ingenuity. This blending of work and self-expression set the stage for future generations to think beyond the 9-to-5. Part 5. The cross-generational impact. The DIY ethos wasn't just a Gen X phenomenon. It became a ripple effect that inspired younger generations. Millennials inherited this spirit as they adapted to an economy where traditional jobs became harder to find. They embraced platforms like YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, turning creative hobbies into full-fledged careers. Gen Z took it a step further, with many teenagers becoming entrepreneurs before graduating high school. Whether it's launching e-commerce brands or advocating for causes, they're redefining what hustle looks like in a digital-first world. This intergenerational exchange is proof of how powerful the DIY ethic remains. Part 6. Lessons from the DIY ethic. The Gen X approach to independence offers valuable lessons for anyone looking to forge their own path. First, embrace imperfection. DIY isn't about polished perfection. It's about learning, adapting, and growing through the process. Second, leverage community. Gen Xers thrived by collaborating with others, whether through punk collectives or neighborhood bartering systems. Today, this translates to building networks, sharing resources, and supporting others in their endeavors. Finally, prioritize passion over profit. Many of the most successful side hustles start not with money in mind, but with a desire to create, solve a problem, or share something meaningful with the world. Part 7. The future of DIY. As technology evolves, so does the DIY ethic. New tools like AI, 3D printing, and blockchain are opening doors for creators to innovate in ways previous generations could only dream of. Crowdfunding platforms allow anyone to finance their ideas, while global marketplaces connect artisans with customers worldwide. The future of DIY will likely see even more blending of technology and creativity, empowering individuals to solve big problems, build community-driven solutions, and redefine success on their own terms. Part 8. The challenges of the DIY journey. The DIY path isn't always easy. For every success story, there are countless moments of frustration, failure, and doubt. From projects that didn't sell to businesses that struggled to break even, many Gen Xers learned the hard way that independence requires resilience. But these challenges weren't roadblocks. They were stepping stones. The DIY ethic teaches us that failure isn't the end, it's an essential part of growth. Every misstep is a lesson, every setback an opportunity to pivot and improve. Today, this mindset is more relevant than ever. In a world where uncertainty is constant, embracing the ups and downs of the journey is what separates those who dream from those who do. Part 9. The heart of DIY. Community and impact. At its core, the DIY ethic is about more than individual success. It's about community. From the garage bands of the past to today's thriving online forums and makerspaces, the heart of DIY lies in connection. Gen X understood this instinctively, whether they were trading zines at punk shows or sharing tips at local meetups. Today, that spirit thrives in digital communities where creators swap advice, inspire one another, and lift each other up. Platforms like Etsy and TikTok have turned side hustles into ecosystems of support, proving that when we help each other grow, we all succeed. DIY isn't just about what you create, it's about the impact you leave behind. Every project, every side hustle, and every dream realized contributes to a ripple effect that inspires others to take their own leap of faith. Part 10. The DIY Dream. Generation X sparked a movement, but the DIY ethic isn't limited to any single generation or moment in time. It belongs to anyone willing to create, adapt, and persevere. What's your DIY dream? Is it a passion project you've been putting off, a skill you've always wanted to learn, or a business idea that's been brewing in your mind? The tools and opportunities are at your fingertips. Start small, start imperfectly, but start. The world is ready for what you have to offer. And remember, the spirit of DIY isn't just about doing it yourself. It's about doing it your way. So go ahead, create, build, and hustle. The legacy of Gen X lives on in every person who decides to take that first step toward independence and self-sufficiency. The DIY ethic taught us that independence, creativity, and resilience are powerful tools for navigating an ever-changing world. It's not just about what you make, it's about who you become in the process. So whether you're starting a small business, learning a new skill, or simply dreaming of something bigger, remember, the spirit of doing it yourself is alive and well. Keep creating, keep hustling, and keep believing in your ability to shape your future. Thank you for watching, and here's to building a world full of makers, dreamers, and doers. If this inspired you, share your story in the comments below.